Today at Eppy Stop Shop, I'm going to show you how I owned 3 cars and 2 historic engines for under $1,000. Then turn around and flip them for a profit. And that's not a joke, no static, it's what we doing. Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to the Chop Shop. And today, again, I'm going to do something just a little bit different. If you take a look down the driveway, you'll notice there's a vehicle missing. And I did finally sell the Mercury. The land yacht is gone, cash in hand, 3 hours away, where all of the vehicles came from in the first place. And that's kind of what I want to hit on real quick. As you see me spinning around, it's been brought to my attention, I've noticed as well, that some people actually think that I'm working in a shop and or think that my garage is quite large. First and foremost, I always record with my zoom out feature on, so things tend to look a little bit bigger. But this is all I got right here. This is just my little garage. It's nothing fancy. Sometimes it looks real big on camera, but I assure you, it barely fits my 2 trucks in here, and the garage has to be completely clean. And I really don't have anything fancy. I've got all my extras, engine stuff stashed on shelves and under workbenches and in front of the tractor, and I really need to clean, but I'm not working with anything fancy here, guys. And I guess this is to inspire, motivate you to do things, because I don't have anything crazy. I don't have any fancy tools or anything like that. However, I did just buy a fancy tool. I don't have it yet. It shipped today, but I am finally getting to retire my old $80 welder right here. I took the money that I made from selling the Mercury and I bought myself an Eastwood 200 series Pro Series welder, 110, 220 capable, MIG, TIG, stick, tack timer, fancy pants, badass welder, super stoked. Also bought myself a 2300 PSI Black & Decker pressure washer, so I don't have to keep attacking all this stuff by hand. I'm constantly just bringing home nasty, disgusting engines, and I have to scrub all that shit by hand. No more. Plus, I can attack stuff, I can attack my driveway, do my deck and everything. So, many projects ahead, but I'm really excited about both those things. I don't have them yet. But, what I do have is my DJM drop I-beams. If you look at my truck right now, I don't know how well you can see on camera. Probably can't. But the wheels are cambered in like this, because when these I-beams lower, it cocks the wheels in. See with these, there's not any way to adjust the spindles here, so when you go up, the wheel goes inward at the top. These correct that. I'm also running a 3-inch drop spring on these when it goes back together, so I will have some camber, but most of it will be pulled out with these. Plus, I can weld on these. If I decide to go bags, I can keep my I-beams. I love my I-beams. So, but again, that's not what we're attacking. I wanted to show you the garage real quick to inspire you, because I don't have much, like I just said. And, I built that bike, building this truck, built that Lightning, we put that Scion back together. We work on the wife's new twin turbo EcoBoost in here, do all kinds of cool stuff. You can too. But, what I hear a lot is, oh, it must be nice, must have a lot of money. I don't. And I spent one very small lump sum of money on 2 different projects, and since then I have done nothing but trade up and profit. And that's what this episode is going to be. I'm going to jump forward, grab some cool clips that I like. I've had 3 vehicles now for technically I profited $1,000. So I got to have 3 classic vehicles and made $1,000. Got a welder, a pressure washer, drop beams. So I'm gonna cut forward, find some cool scenes, figure out how I'm gonna do this, because I'm gonna have to screen grab some of my old footage, some pictures and stuff. But we're gonna jump forward and do some flashback stuff. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start from the beginning. The very first vehicle, and you can see it on the channel, you're going to see it again, was my 63 Econoline van. I bought that thing for, I believe it was actually $700. My wife says 7, I say 8. But that guy actually delivered it to me for that price. It had a locked up 170 cubic inch straight 6 in it, but came with a 200 straight 6 out of a Mustang, had an alternator instead of a generator, was a newer engine. So I swapped them bad boys out. The thing ran like crap. I had to operate the throttle with my hand to keep it running. Just check it out, guys. Wow. All right, guys. So that was the epicness of the Econoline. And as you can tell, it ran like crap. It had no exhaust on it. It was just the whole lower section of that thing, every panel needed to be replaced on that thing. And I don't know where this guy came from, and I can't actually remember his name right now. But ironically enough, this guy years ago had traded his Econoline for a 57 Willys Jeep for his, at the time, girlfriend, who unfortunately had passed away. But he held on to it for a couple more years, I think, and then finally ended up driving, I think it was almost 4 hours, to trade me a 1957 Willys Jeep with a Ford Pinto Lima 2.3 liter engine swap in it. It didn't run at the time, the brakes didn't function. I spent very little time and money on it, and check out the fun I had in this thing. Oh, I forgot how awesome this thing was to drive. Not awesome on straight side. It's like a bucket brown going through here. Woo! This reminds me of back in Charlie used to drive around in my 58 Willys. Ambush on the foreigners. Yes, we did. Ruthless. What the fuck are you talking about? I wonder what kind of conversations would have been had in a Willys Jeep. I don't know. And believe it or not, after all that fun, I got rid of that thing. And it's one of the, I'm not a Jeep guy, but that thing, and it's a Willys, but it's a Jeep too, whatever. You know, you can, there's always that debate. But yeah, I missed that thing so much, man. I took my wife all over in that thing. I took all my fucking friends for a ride in that thing. I took even my friends' kids for rides in that thing. Man, I loved that thing. That was so cool. I also got to take my friend to his first dispensary in that thing. It was pretty cool to take my friend to a dispensary in an old military Jeep. It was just cool. But then I come to find a Jeep guy who had the Merc. It was a 1970 Mercury Monterey. Again, 3-hour trip. This guy came to me, even up trade. And for minimum works and bushings, I cleaned up the wheels. I drove it to work a time or two. Did a gnarly burnout in it. I had just a couple of real small issues with it. But I was kind of, to be honest, I was kind of falling in love with it. I was also kind of wanting to donate the frame and stuff to my truck for stage 2 of the truck. But she's gone to a home of a guy. I don't know what his plans are with it, but he seemed to be really happy with it. But check out the Merc.
Yep. I can feel the tension coming down on me. Oh yeah. Keep it going, baby. Alright guys, here in the Merc, this episode's about buttoned up, but I've been promising a burnout in this thing, and let's go do some illegal shit.
Wow. So how about them apples? So in case you're wondering where we are at financially in this episode, like I said, I bought the Econoline for $700 or $800 for tune-up and gaskets, lots of labor. Traded it even up for the Willys. Same thing for the Willys. Basic maintenance, lots of labor. Traded it even up for the Merc. Again, a little bit of maintenance, and then it pretty much just sat there. All 3 vehicles were delivered to me and trailered away from me. I don't own a trailer. By the people, 3 to 4 hours. Every single one of those vehicles. I then turned around and sold the Merc for $1,800. So I got to own 3 classic vehicles: an Econoline, a Willys Jeep, and a Merc, for the profit of $1,000. And then turn around and finally bought myself a good welder so I can finally be a good welder. Because, I mean, let's just face it, that doesn't do it. It's just not. It's not okay if I'm gonna be doing cool stuff like this and this. And in case you haven't noticed, this bike is hanging on the wall on so many of the videos. The frame that was a free project. I took that out of my mom's garden. Here's another bike that came out of my mom's garden. It's going to be another project. And believe it or not, we're not done. Because I own a flathead, an 8BA Ford flathead V8. And I know that may sound dumb, but that is like a dream engine for me. I'd love to have a Mercury stroker. There's bigger, better engines that the flathead to dream about, but I own a flathead V8. And ironically enough, while I owned the Willys that had the Pinto Lima 2.3 in it, I acquired it was a L134 Go Devil flathead engine, which actually came from the previous generation of Willys Jeep. It still wasn't the correct engine for my Jeep, though it would have fit, I believe, to the transmission, transfer case, and everything that was in it. Still not the correct engine. My engine would have been the Hurricane, which is a really similar design, kinda, block-wise, except it's not a flathead. Anyway, this engine came from a local kayaker. I don't know, he owns a property, rents kayaks, picks you up, drops you off, whatever. He had a first gen Willys Jeep that he got T-boned in. This was his extra engine. This engine, to my knowledge, was an actual military Go Devil flathead engine. It had later in life made its way into an Amish home where it was put into a custom engine stand with a belt drive and ran in their sawmill. The water pump went out and they literally filled this engine with oil, air filter, and everything. And then I acquired it, I don't know how many years later. I bought it for 150 bucks, threw gaskets at it, blew it apart, cleaned the piss out of it. Check it out. Boom, guys. That is finally it. I turned around and I flipped that engine for $700. Believe it or not. Bought it for $150, flipped it for $7. Might have even been $750. I think it was $750. But anyway, as you can see, I'm not a guy who has a lot of tools, a lot of money, but I am a guy who's willing to take the effort to bring things back to life. That's basically what I've done. For 800 bucks, I took the locked up engine of an Econoline, put one in that ran very poorly, needed a carburetor build, it needed a bunch of stuff. But the block and head, the prime source, the engine, the block, and everything was good. And I just traded and traded and traded, and then just ironically made profit. You can do this. You can make money. You can have cool stuff. You don't have to have a lot of money. You just have to have the will to take the time to do the things and the goal, or the nuts, if you will, to do it. If you can't tell during some of the videos, I'm not the most experienced guy A lot of this has been a learning experience for me myself, and these videos have been a benefit to me because I can go back through and watch myself tear things apart, put things back together. At one point in time, I believe it was the video where I pulled the engine out of the F100. I actually lost my impact drill. For the life of me, couldn't find it. And then while watching the video, I went back through and realized that I actually knocked it into my oil pan that I put under the engine while pulling it. Fun fact. But that's it, guys. I mean, I wasn't trying to show off. I wasn't trying to brag. It wasn't anything like that. Obviously, I don't have anything to show off or brag about. I kind of just got lucky. I put forth the effort. I got to do some cool stuff. I got to have some cool stuff. But my main interest here is my F100. So, I mean, I let the Merc go. I mean, the Lightning's technically next in line. Once this thing gets motivating again, I know the Lightning is nice and pretty, but she definitely needs some love. We'll get into that later. But we got, like I said, it seems like a lot, but it's kind of not. I got to do the floors and this thing. They're pretty bad, but you can get this whole section, that whole section. This is all okay. We can make that look better. I don't know quite how I want to attack this yet because there is a lot of like bumps and curves and whatnot in it. I will have a better welder, but that doesn't make me a better metal guy. I'm gonna have to do some bending and some shaping because you can't get that piece. So we're gonna have to make something happen. Many more projects. This was scrap. I don't have the short block yet, but this is everything but the short block of a 272Y block that was somebody else's scrap. And I have intentions of bringing that thing back to life with like a factory plus kind of period correct thing. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on it, but it's a thing I intend to flip and make profit on to put into my flathead. I think I can do that relatively inexpensive. I'm going to have more in it than the flathead, but we'll see where it goes. The cool thing is, I love my pressure washer. So see how nasty and thick all this is? For the first time on an engine build, I don't have to get my fingers in there and get all grody. There's still some nastiness in the flathead even. So I can get in there and blast all that out. But the wife's trying to let the dogs out. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Subscribers still keep going up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Many more projects. Get out there and do some cool shit. Deuces. Hi, yummies. Our fast one. Yep. Our fast one that won't stay in the yard, unfortunately. Oh, he's gonna fix it. He's gonna make it. Oberon. Obi Trice. Real name, no gimmicks. You don't give a shit. Deuces.